Welcome to another quarterly portfolio update. If you are stopping by for the first time, please subscribe to the channel and hit the like button. In this video, I will share with you how much I invested in my brokerage account during the second quarter of 2026, how many shares I bought, and the value of my portfolio at the end of the quarter, which was June the 30th. I will also show you how much dividends I received for the quarter. But as always, before I continue, a quick disclaimer. The information that I'm sharing is not financial advice. Before you invest in anything, please do your own research and make sure that you only invest in things that you understand. With that being said, I will dive right into my quarterly portfolio update. I will start with a quick recap of my Q1 portfolio to show you the value of the portfolio and how many shares I had before the beginning of Q2. The total value of my portfolio at the end of Q1 2026 was $121,248.88. $121,094.30 was the market value of my investments, and $154.58 was a cash amount. At the end of Q1 2026, which was March 31st, the total unrealized profit of my portfolio was $35,349.11. This was plus 41.23%. These are my holdings: 2 Vanguard ETFs and 2 BlackRock ETFs. VCN is a Vanguard ETF that tracks the Canadian market. It holds small, medium, and large cap Canadian stocks. I had 122 shares of VCN at the end of Q1 2026. VFV is a Vanguard ETF that tracks the S&P 500 index. This is the Canadian version of VOO. I had 308 shares of VFV at the end of Q1 2026. XEquity is a BlackRock ETF. This is an all-in-one equity ETF that holds Canadian equities, US equities, developed market equities outside of North America, and emerging market equities. If you want to hold a single equity ETF that is globally diversified, you might consider looking into XEquity or its Vanguard equivalent, VEQT. I had 680 shares of XEquity at the end of Q1 2026. XUU is a BlackRock ETF that tracks the US total stock market, and I had 370 shares of XUU at the end of Q1 2026. I will now show you how much I invested during the second quarter of 2026 and how many shares I bought. I bought 6 shares of VCN. The average cost per share was $69.65. The total cost, $417.92. This is 9% of the amount that I invested in Q2 2026. I bought 12 shares of VFV. The average cost per share was $177.57. The total cost, $2,130.82. This is 45% of the amount that I invested in Q2 2026. I bought 30 shares of XEquity. The average cost per share was $43.08. The total cost, $1,292.39. This is 27% of the amount that I invested in Q2 2026. I bought 12 shares of XUU. The average cost per share was $73.19. The total cost, $878.30. And this is 19% of the amount that I invested in Q2 2026. In total, I bought 60 shares, all the ETFs combined. And the amount that I invested in Q2 2026 was $4,719.43. This is $551.05 less than the amount that I invested in Q1 2026. As you can see, in Q1 2026, I invested $5,170.48, and in Q2, I invested $4,719.43. The difference is minus $451.05. The total value of my portfolio at the end of Q2 2026 was $145,096.52. $144,757.36 was the market value of my investments, and $339.16 was the cash amount. At the end of Q2 2026, the total unrealized profit of my portfolio was $54,292.74. This was plus 60.02%. At the end of Q2 2026, which was June the 30th, I had 128 shares of VCN. This was 6.24% of the market value of my portfolio. 392 shares of VFV. This was 50.89% of the market value of my portfolio. 710 shares of XEquity. This was 22.07% of the market value of my portfolio. And 382 shares of XUU. This was 20.56% of the market value of my portfolio. Alright, let's now take a look at how much dividends I received for the quarter. To receive an upcoming dividend payment, you have to be the shareholder on the record date. I had the 128 shares of VCN on the record date. The dividend amount per share was 38 cents. The dividend amount that I received for VCN was $48.19. This is 10% of the dividend amount that I received in Q2 2026. I had the 392 shares of VFV on the record date. The dividend amount per share was 40 cents. The dividend amount that I received for VFV was $154.99. This is 31% over the dividend amount that I received in Q2 2026. I had the 710 shares of XEQT on the record date. The dividend amount per share was 32 cents. The dividend amount that I received for XEQT was $228.62. This is 46% of the dividend amount that I received in Q2 2026. I had the 382 shares of XUU on the record date. The dividend amount per share was 16 cents. The dividend amount that I received for XUU was $61.12, and this is 12% of the dividend amount that I received in Q2 2026. The total amount of dividends that I received in Q2 2026 was $492.91. This is $183.12 more than the amount that I received in Q1 2026. As you can see, in Q1 2026, I received $309.79, and in Q2 2026, I received $492.91. The difference is plus $183.12. All the ETFs except VFV paid a higher dividend amount per share in Q2 than they did in Q1. The BlackRock ETFs had the highest payout increase in Q2. You can see in this dividend payout table that XEQT paid 32 cents in Q2 versus 9 cents in Q1. This is an increase of 253.85%. XEQT pays higher dividend amount per share in Q2 and Q4 than it does in Q1 and Q3. So I was kind of expecting a payout increase for XEQT in Q2, but frankly not at this level. I think this is the first time that XEQT's payout has reached 30 cents per share. If its dividend payout policy remains consistent with the past years, I will receive a lower dividend amount per share for XEQT in Q3 2026, which will be at the end of September. As for XUU, it paid 16 cents per share in Q2 versus almost 13 cents per share in Q1. This is an increase of 25.98%. VCN also paid a higher dividend amount per share in Q2 than it did in Q1, almost 38 cents per share in Q2 versus almost 33 cents per share in Q1. This is an increase of 15.27%. Only VFV decreased its dividend payout in Q2. It paid almost 40 cents in Q2 versus 42 cents in Q1. This is a decrease of 6.73%. These ETFs are all long-term growth-oriented, but they pay quarterly dividends that I reinvest since I am in my wealth building phase. Dividend reinvesting allows you to buy more shares that in turn will pay dividends. This plus the share price appreciation will boost your overall portfolio return and speed up your path to wealth. To truly appreciate the power of reinvesting dividends, consider a historical perspective. A 10,000 investment in the S&P 500 in 1980, with dividends reinvested, would have grown to over 500,000 by 2020. If the dividends were withdrawn instead, that same investment would be closer to 200,000. This illustrates how dividends and the choice to reinvest them account for a substantial portion of long-term market gains. Alright, I will share my Q3 2026 dividends update in 3 months. In the meantime, I will stay the course and keep investing consistently. Feel free to leave a comment below. Please like the video and subscribe to the channel. Thank you for watching. I will see you next time. Peace out.
Our hearts beat to the city streets. We began to feel the fire.